Now what we've essentially done is created a level terrace here. So when the water comes down, it's going to stay here for a minute. It's not going to keep going because it's level.
Howdy doodle 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 do. Howdy doodle 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 do.
Howdy everybody. I'm standing here next to one of our mangosteen trees. It's just put on some new growth, as you can see, so we're very happy about that. And today I'm going to do something very important for the farm, and it's part of our water security program. I mentioned in the last video that where we are, the region we're in, has been hit by climate change very hard. And so we're not getting the rain that we used to. The temperatures are higher, so it's a lot drier. It may not seem like that now because we're in the rainy season, but it gets really bad. So one of the things that we can do is incorporate some dryland permaculture techniques to help retain the water in the soil, which is what we're going to do. I have 2 5-gallon buckets full of compost from the chicken house on steroids, a very good compost, by the way, that I'm going to spread here in just a minute and show you how I'm going to do it. So let's get started. The ground is at a slight incline. A slight incline. It's going this way. And so we're going to take advantage of that. There's our 2 buckets full of compost from the chicken house on steroids. So we're going to take advantage of the slight slope here. This is a dryland permaculture technique in which we dig out what amounts to like a donut around the tree, but this side of the donut here, which is lower, is going to have like a berm, a berm. The upper part is not going to have one. And what's going to happen is, as it rains, the catchment is going to come down. Water always goes to the least resistance, and it's going to catch behind that mini berm. And we're going to have compost in there, nice soft compost that absorbs a lot of water. That's going to create a situation where we have a more moist environment around the tree, and we can add more compost around there as needed. We can actually expand the size of the donut as well as the tree grows. So that's another thing that we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that now, and you'll see what I'm talking about as you watch. Okay, so now as you can see, I've made an initial go around for like a half moon around here, and put the dirt from it down here on the bottom part. So I'm going to continue that now to develop this. Now, when we first came here, we didn't really even have soil. What we had was dirt and rocks, and that was it. You couldn't find an earthworm on this entire farm. Now we do have earthworms. We're moving in the right direction, but we're still not anywhere near where we need to be in terms of restoring and building the soil here. So this is one of the techniques that we're using to help us along. The soil here in the summer months during the dry season becomes so hard that you could literally play a professional basketball game on it, or have a tennis match and have it be competitive because it gets that hard. So one of the things we want to do, and that's because we don't have an abundance of carbon in the soil. What happens, you know, you could see we have a lot of foliage around here, but what happens, the foliage dies in the summer. When the rains come, it all gets washed away. In other words, it's leached from the soil. So one of the things we want to do is to slow the water down here. Now we could do this by digging swales, and of course we have a swale right here. But this is another more targeted strategy for dryland permaculture that I'm incorporating here. Okay, as you can see, we're a lot farther along now, but I wanted to stop for a minute to tell you about some important things to understand about this whole system. One is that this half moon shape up here at the top that we're digging, the bottom of that should not be lower than the ground here. So we have the other half moon, and if we take the tip of that half moon and we look at the ground, we want to make sure the ground up above here where we've dug is not deeper than that. So that's number one. And there's a good reason for it, because we still want the water to continue to flow. We just want to slow it down. So we don't want to create a ditch here that is going to actually accumulate the water. That might not be good for the tree. A lot of trees don't like wet feet. So we're organizing it in such a way that the depth of where we dig here is not lower than the depth down here. So it's even. So you'll see it's not quite there yet. I have a little bit more to do with it. The other thing is we're gonna cut this back a little bit so it's not so severe, so we don't get erosion. So you'll see that too. Okay, we finished it here. Now what we've essentially done is created a level terrace here. So when the water comes down, it's going to stay here for a minute. It's not going to keep going because it's level. It's not perfectly level, but it's level enough to slow the water down, and that's all we care about. So now the only thing left to do is to put our top dressing of compost on here. And I'm going to do that right now. Spread that out. This is extremely good compost made from the chicken house on steroids. Now we're going to put most of the compost up on this end of the circle, because when the rain comes, it's going to wash it in this direction. So we want to make sure we have plenty of compost up there. So I'm going to fill this. Okay. Just spread it out just a little bit here. And there you have it. This tree is ready for the dry season now. Now I'll probably come up here with more compost and put even more compost here. But I'll give a chance for it to rain, let this settle, and then put more afterwards. So, as I always say, if these videos are beneficial to you in any way, please consider clicking the like button. It helps me a lot. If you like the channel and the content that we're creating, please click the subscribe button as well. That also helps. So with that, I'll see you in the next video.